Good morning, 7th grade. I hope that we're having a great start to our day and a great week so far. Today's video is going to be all about dividing integers. So our last video was about multiplying, and so far we've done addition, subtraction, multiplication, and now we're on to division. Okay, so if you have any questions, feel free to message me. But without further ado, let's get to the video.
Today's video is going to be all about the division of integers. But first, let's start off with some vocabulary. It's important for us to know what a quotient, divisor, dividend, and integer actually are. Okay, so a quotient is the answer to a division problem. A divisor is the denominator of a fraction, aka it's the number that divides another number. So in 4 divided by 2, 2 would be my divisor. A dividend is the numerator of a fraction, slash it is the number that gets divided. So again, in 4 divided by 2, 4 would be my dividend. The dividend is always divided by the divisor. And last but certainly not least, an actual integer. An integer is a positive or negative whole number. So let's think about multiplying and dividing positive or negative numbers. Let's think about our rules last time. In our multiplication of integers video, we said that a negative multiplied by a positive gives me a negative answer. So, negative 6 times positive 4 would give me negative 24. But division is the exact reverse of multiplication, as in, I should be able to do negative 24 divided by 4, and that should give me negative 6. And in fact, that is the case. And on the flip side, if I were to do negative 24 divided by negative 6, that gives me positive 4. And in fact, this is all what it comes down to. I can see that when I have a negative divided by a positive, I get a negative answer. And when I have a negative divided by a negative, I get a positive answer. So in fact, if I were to try to break this down, so a positive divided by a negative gives me a negative. A negative divided by a positive gives me a negative. We already know that a positive divided by another positive gives me a positive. And a positive divided by a negative, a negative divided by a negative gives me a positive as well. So in fact, it is the exact same rules as multiplication. Okay? So let's answer a couple questions. So if the quotient, the answer to a division problem, is a negative number, what must be true about the signs of the dividend and the divisor? So that means the number in the numerator and the denominator. Well, that means they have to be different signs. So it could be like negative 4 divided by positive 2. That gives me negative 2 as my answer. If the quotient is a positive number, that means they have to have the same signs. And in fact, let's just make it a little bit easier for us. On this next slide, I have that exactly written out. The rules for dividing two integers. A quotient is negative if the divisor and the dividend have opposite signs. One is positive, one is negative. Okay? A quotient is positive if the divisor and the dividend have the same signs, as in they are both positive or they are both negative. Okay? So let's try one more slide here. Are the answers to the three quotients below the same or are they different? Why or why not? Well, let's just start off with this first one. I have a negative divided by a positive. So I know that my answer is going to be negative, and I really just do 14 divided by 7, which I know is going to be 2. So negative 2 will ultimately be my final answer. For part B, I have a positive divided by a negative. My dividend and my divisor signs are not the same. So my quotient is also going to be negative. And I just do 14 divided by 7, and I know I get 2 again. Now in part C, this is where things get a little bit trickier. We have to think about our order of operations here. We have to look inside our parentheses. 14 divided by 7 is in our parentheses, and that becomes 2. And then I have a negative on the outside of my parentheses. That's really like negative 1 times 2, which in fact gives me negative 2. So yes, they all are the same. And we just did the work to show that. Okay? So let's go to our lesson summary. So the rules for dividing integers are similar to the rules for multiplying integers when the divisor is not 0. Okay? The quotient is positive if the divisor and the dividend have the same signs, and negative if they have opposite signs. The quotient of any two integers will always be a rational number, as in a number that can be written as a fraction. And they have their example there. Okay? So if we go back to probably our most important slide, slide 4, a positive divided by a negative gives me a negative. Negative divided by a positive gives me a negative. Positive divided by positive gives me positive, and a negative divided by negative gives me a positive. It is the exact same rules as multiplication, just now for division. And that's all that I have for the video. So if you have any questions, please feel free to leave a comment in the comment section below or send me a message on Schoology. But until next time, I hope that you have a great day.